Raise your hands if you missed DMX.
It's us, DMX fans and talk comic to me connoisseurs. This is the Bone Zone comic book Bone Zone. Uh,
Love.
I think I think I named the last one 10, but we're I know it's week 13 or week 14 in the calendar week.
Yeah.
So you know what? We'll just jump up. We're on comic book Bone Zone, number 14. We can do whatever we want. This is our podcast. I'm Champ Champenstein.
I'm I'm Heather Hatfield.
I don't want to act like we don't play by our own rules here.
We're free spirits. We do whatever we want.
Uh, and that's why we'll be voting for what's her name? What's
Love.
that's even better than what I was gonna say. So let's we're actually here to talk about comic books. Oh, I'm out of focus if you're watching. Who cares? Uh I'll come into focus sometime. But yeah, come and talk about comic books. Heather, you take it away because I'm gonna talk about books a lot here in a little bit.
Yeah, I don't have very many. Champ has a
I have a
monstrous
lot.
list. Okay, so I have Pop Up. This is issue number 1. This is a Blood Moon Comics joint. I don't I know I have read books from them before, but I just can't think of like what.
Is that the one that's like Cover the Dead in Lime? Is that Blood Moon?
See, I thought that at first too. The pages feel the same, but I don't recognize that. I'll have to look into it because I
Mm-hmm.
just my mind has not been all here lately either. So anyway, this is just about an artist named Diane Strickland who is kind of obsessed with like collecting things for a museum, and it's like a pop-up museum essentially.
Okay.
Get it?
Yeah.
Um, but she collects like evil pieces for this pop-up museum and stuff, and it turns into like a monstrous thing. So this first issue is, oh Lord, is called Exhibit A, The Gruesome Granny. And it's
Oh yeah,
about,
I remember that title.
yeah, it's about like a wax figure. So
All right.
yeah, I did have quite a bit of fun with this.
So it's
Yeah,
kind of like the in-between Conjuring movies, like Annabelle and shit.
yeah, kind of, because it is like cursed and like supernatural items and stuff like
Hmm.
that, except they don't believe in that kind of stuff. They're just like, oh, a cool like horror thing.
Okay.
But yeah, it was quite fun.
All right. So I got 4 books. Get ready. First, I have Sabretooth and the Exiles. This is issue number 5. This wraps up the series. Um, there's probably going to be more. They allude to some form of Sabretooth war. There ends up being a lot of saber-tooths, if you will.
The
Um,
Sabres.
but yeah, I thought it was a great little read. I really like Victor Lavelle's writing. And Leonard Kirk does the art, and that also looked really great. So yeah, Sabretooth and the Exiles. I do recommend reading the first half of this story because that the beginning half was I'm not saying this wasn't good, but that first like those first 5 issues of that Sabretooth story were phenomenal.
Isn't it kind of crucial too, so you know like what's happening in Exiles, or could you?
I suppose you could probably kind of step in just because they kind of fill in the blanks of what's happening.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, it would be like better
Okay.
to read for sure. More context.
Right. That's what I had assumed, but I didn't know.
And then next I have Gotham City Year One. This is issue number 6. This ends the series. This is it. I really like this series a lot. Um, I was talking to one of our friends about this because I was telling him I liked it. And he was like, I just don't care because it's another Batman story. And I was like, I don't know. I didn't really like read it as a Batman story because I don't know, it's about the Waynes way like pre Batman.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, you could just change their names and it wouldn't be as interesting, but you would still get the weight of it. But yeah, I don't know. I really liked it. Really good detective noir story. Noir.
Nor.
The art and the colors and the inks and everything are just phenomenal. There's a giant Wonder Woman ad next to that. Just the reds and the grays and the blacks and all of the colors in this book are just top notch.
I did like the art a lot for it.
Yeah, and I just that was just the best part of the book. Honestly, it really was, and it's probably why I ended up liking it so much. I'm not gonna lie about that because
Right.
that is probably a good chunk of why I enjoyed it. But the story itself was still interesting and enjoyable, and I would highly recommend checking it out in trade. I think it'd be worth a trade read for sure. And then next, I have Indigo Children. This is issue number 1. This is about I guess at this point just one child who, or like one person you learn about who has this kind of like power. He grew up, or was escaping the like Eastern Bloc in the 90s, it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Um and a reporter is out to find him, but it is, a lot of undercover, weird, shifty stuff. Uh yeah, it was enjoyable. I really liked the art a lot. Um I don't know
Oh yeah, that looks great.
how to really describe it, but yeah, the colors were also good. Um Also a thing I think I enjoyed about it the most was like the color schemes.
Mm-hmm.
Uh yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It was like enjoyable, but not my thing.
That's fair. And it is only a first issue, so you don't have to stick with it.
Yeah. And then at the same time, I'm just like, well, I kind of want to know.
Mm-hmm.
But if
Who
I do
writes that
get
one?
Kurt Pyers
Okay.
and Rockwell White, I think it's a co-written book. Hold on.
Do you think for a number 1 it's worth picking up just to read?
Yeah, I would say that,
Okay.
especially if you like want to make your own decision. Um and Alex Diodo does the art and D kind of does the colors, who I think he does the colors for Crossover too,
Okay.
and like a few other books that I've read. Uh yeah, good colorist. Anyway, Indigo Children number 1. Let's flip through that book again. And then lastly for this group of books, I have Miracle Kingdom. This is issue number 1. This is a almost said Scott book. So and
It's a scoop book.
it's a scoop book. It's actually a scout book, because not to be confused with Scouts kids
Yes. Yeah, no,
line
don't
called
mix those up.
Scoot. Anyway, this is Miracle Kingdom number 1. This is about a detective who is asked to work a case about, ooh, bless you,
Thank you.
an evangelical priest, I don't know, preacher, I guess is their name. I don't know, I'm Catholic, I don't know what the fuck they're called. I'm not Catholic, I'm previously Catholic. Let me
I'm Catholic.
clarify.
I don't know.
People will be like, what? They're Catholic. There's something real funny about that. Anyway, investigating this preacher who has cured several of his clergy, and the detective is maybe sent from heaven.
Oh shit. Is it God?
I think it's just like an angel,
Oh.
or he's just an angel, not it.
So he wants to be God.
Yeah, and that's why he's solving all these earth crimes. or Earth mysteries.
The god title is just going to get passed down to him because that's how it works, right?
Yeah.
Whatever angel does the best.
How many mysteries did you solve?
Oh goodness, we should
yeah.
write that story.
Miracle Kingdom #1. That's all I got.
Okay.
For right now.
All right. We'll be back though.
No, we'll be.
Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
We both had this crazy book. This is Songs for the Dead, Afterlife. I'm going to talk about this for just a minute. So,
and I only have one sentence to say about it, so you go first.
Okay. So this is the final part of this series, which originally started with Songs for the Dead. It followed up with the Necromancer's map, which I did read that part, and then this is again the final piece. So don't just pick it up thinking it's going to be a random one shot like that you can just like jump in and understand what's going on, because while Necromancer's map was that way, you could do that without reading that first story arc. This definitely is not.
I learned that the hard way.
Yeah, which I wish I would have like known. I would have mentioned something, but I didn't.
I mean, it seemed like something that was like a second part just because of the like title, but at the same time, like I said, it just like the way the solicit like or even the back of the book reads, it seems like something you could pick up and read without having to have done any back work.
Right.
But this starts out, yeah, with just them just full on like talking about people whose names I don't know, and I'm just like, I don't even know who this dude is.
Yeah, it's crazy. And like I read it and I was still like thoroughly confused because it's been 4 years. I looked it up because I was like, I know it's been a long time. Like it's been 4 years. So the necromancer's map was about Bethany, who is the necromancer, and her sidekick Elisar. They are searching for a young wizard named Jonas who is trying to help them find the covenant, essentially. So in this, they find Jonas, or they had found Jonas. They found the covenant, and she's trying to bring together like all the necromancers and stuff and unite the kingdom and all that kind of shit. But it's like way more complicated than that because everyone has like prejudices and stuff. So I have not finished this. This is very wordy and I just could not pay attention. There's a lot of words in here, man. There's so many words.
Yeah, no, that was something else I noticed when I started it. I was like, okay, I'll start reading this. And then I like flipped the page and yeah, that's when I got to when they were talking about like who the fuck is Tristan?
Yeah, it's a lot.
Who's Volgros?
See, I don't even remember that.
It's like I don't know who these people are. And yeah, there's a lot. So I just decided not to keep going. Egg on my face on this one. But the Nick Robles cover got me, and then like the solicit, I was like, oh, okay, that sounds like kind of interesting.
See, I did really enjoy the Necromancer's map. So I know I will enjoy this because like I was telling you earlier, like the way that series ended was like very open-ended and it didn't feel like it was over. But then enough time had passed where I was just like, oh, okay, so maybe that was it. So, I mean, I will read this because I do want to know like what happens to them and stuff. But my God, couldn't they have split it up into like 3 issues or something? Like who do they think I am?
Is this only a one shot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That completes the entire story in that one issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's an interesting choice they made, but
yeah.
Whatever. Okay, I'm gonna keep going.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I have this book. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't actually read it. I flipped through it, kind of browsed what it was saying. And from what I understand, it just gets even grosser in this one. I don't understand how. But this, I guess, goes into like Domino's first like snuff film.
Okay.
and how it's filmed, and then goes into the weird relationship she has with that gross grown man when she is graduating high school in this.
Yeah.
There's one issue left, so we'll see. I mean, like I always say, colors wonderful, the art beautiful, it looks great, but like just a little bit less. I would like a little bit less of like the grossness of it, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't want to see this grown man making this teenager kill someone and then banging her.
Yeah.
That's
That's not what anyone wants to see, I don't think.
no. It gives me almost the same feeling, but like worse when I see teenagers in movies kissing. Grosses me out. I don't like it.
All right. All right.
That's all.
Okay. So
Oh,
I
that was
have
Lovesick, by the way. I totally forgot.
I, yeah. Mhm, mhm.
Yes.
It's just a book that we know what it's about.
Yeah, I'm like I'm not hate reading it even. I'm like
Hmm.
barely even reading it. I'm just getting it because I'm like, what could possibly happen? Like, how could this even end? What is
And
this about?
and there isn't like that much dialogue either, so it's not like it's
Mm-mm.
a lot of work.
No, it's just a lot of teenage shenanigans, but in like a really gross, perverted way. I'm uncomfortable. It makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, I'll just move us right along.
Go, get the train moving.
Okay. So next I'm gonna there we go. I got Godfell. This is issue number 2. So I'm gonna read the back of the book. Having taken the first steps of their journey through the corpse of God, Sansi and Neth are ready for a fight, but nothing has prepared them for the Felnat. Living in flesh hotels carved up and down the leg of oh sorry, up and down the leg this apocalypse cult will stop at nothing to turn the soldier and her tag-along into acolytes. So they encounter a cult inside this god they're traveling through, and Zanzi, the main character, does some real badass shit.
On what end do they enter the god?
I can't remember. I don't remember. Do you remember?
I don't. In my head, I'm like, this is like a body. Do they go in through the mouth?
They went in through the crotch. Let's say they just went in.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Or
That's
like
what I thought.
the foot, I would say the foot since they're in the leg now.
So it's just like a one of those Easter, the chocolate Easter bunnies. It's just like hollow inside.
There's like stuff inside, but here's a picture of it down here.
Oh, okay. It's more of
It's
a
like
robot.
yeah, it's like it's laying out like Gulliver from Gulliver's Travels when they
Okay.
have him tied to the ground.
Yeah. Okay, I get that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. For some, and I read that first issue, so I knew that. But for some reason, in my head, I was like the gods from We Only Find Them When They're Dead, and I was like, wait, so that's like a human man? It's like a human, and they're just like traveling inside of it. I was very confused for a minute, but okay, I got my gods mixed up. My bad.
Uh I mean it looks like they're hollowing it out in one of these, so I can't speak to if they hollowed out the god. Um, but the inside of it does look like a cave.
Okay, yeah, that makes more sense for like a mechanical suit. I get that. Not a human man. I was like, they're
So
just scooping it out with like a melon scooper.
so anyway, these people who the main characters end up in the first issue, Zanzi is attempting to head home after just numerous wars after wars. After they told her that the war was over, they made another war. She runs into this other character who is like, "Ah." And Zanzi's like, "No, I'm not going to help you." And they end up kind of like, obviously they're gonna be together during this journey. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
For everybody not viewing, Heather just put one of her hands in like a hole shape and put a finger in it,
It
so
was the hot dog and the donut,
I've never heard it referred to that. They fight some cult members. Sansi does this cool thing where she chops like a pile of men in half with an axe, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I love that.
And then the next place they go to has a bunch of people banging. So
Sounds like a good time and a god.
yeah, starting out, starting out real well. But yeah, it's a fun little like adventure book. The first issue like felt way more dense than that issue did,
Hmm.
and I don't know if it's just like because I read it when I had a really heavy week, or if it did just have a lot more information than this issue did.
No, that was
But
really dense. I remember that.
okay, man, just a little fantasy adventure story.
Nice.
And moving on, I have Once Upon a Time at the End of the World. This is issue number 5. Um, yes, this is the end of the first story arc.
I love that
Uh,
cover.
yeah, it is so good.
It's
This
really good.
this book is actually just like I said, I feel like you should get it in trade because you would really enjoy it. It's great. It's was a really wonderful like first story arc. You like here they have the Olympics between the like these Boy Scouts of the apocalypse and God, why can't I remember the main character's name? One of the main characters, Maceo's and Maceo, and it's just like Maceo just keeps like losing. Um, but he just creates this gun that does just like some of the one of the wildest things, and I love it. I really like I would highly suggest it. Just because I'm interested to see how like the love story will go too.
Hmm.
And
I love love stories, so
I know you love stories. And
yeah.
the art is really great. Alexandre Tefenki. I probably just said that really wrong. Just murdered that, so I'm sorry. But yeah, it's great. I don't know. I just want to
Yeah, it looks really good.
so it's good stuff. I really enjoy it.
Is that a boom book?
It's a boom book, yeah, and it's written by Jason Aaron for everybody else who is listening. Uh, yeah, just a really solid little first bit. We'll see how it
Okay.
goes. All right, I'm ready. Are you ready?
Oh, is it both of us now? Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah. Next we have a detective. This is 1070. Um, moving along in Ram's storyline. I think this is what was it? It is Gotham Nocturne Act 1 Grand Design Part 2. Art in this book is just phenomenal.
Yeah, oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah. Um, yeah, we got some Solomon Grundy in here. We got some Bruce being a sad boy, reminiscing.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hanging out at
Oracle.
his parents' grave as one does.
Yeah, in that fucking jacket with like the collar popped up. That's what got me. Yeah, the classic Bruce.
The artist on this is Stefano Raphael. Uh, it's so good. Just ugh. But yeah, just the Batgirls are also helping Bruce kind of figure out what's going on. Him and Talia actually talk.
Mhm. Which I loved. I was not expecting that.
It's just like, hey, this helps fill in some like you were trying to make me not, help them. And she's like, yeah. And she's like, I couldn't tell you. And she's like, but if you had, then things might be going a different way. Maybe not. He probably would have tried to stop it regardless. Batman loves saving rich people.
Well, it's how he was raised. And then the second story is just the continuance of the Freeze story by Cy Spurrier and Caspar. How do you say his last name? Wingard?
Wingard.
Wingard?
That's how I've been doing it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Looks so good. I love
yeah,
it so much.
I also just like I like the weird. I like how weird it is. This does also introduce new characters,
Yes.
so feels like worth mentioning.
There was what other book did we read like in the last couple weeks where they introduced a new character too? I feel like it was a Batman book, wasn't it?
Main title Batman introduced a new character like a few issues back, the guy with the red mask.
Oh, okay. That's probably what I'm thinking of. All the Batmans just kind of in my mind, float together. They don't really make any sense in my head. That's why I have a hard time remembering like what happens in each one because I'm like, Batman is in all of them.
I mean, that is not wrong. Not at all.
All right, I'm gonna go.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. I have Dragon Age The Missing. This is issue number 3. Usually there are only 3 issues, but this one is continuing. So we'll see.
Okay.
Barrick and Scout Harding enlist the help of some elves, and they're still trying to find Solus, but they end up in the Vale. I almost called it the Upside Down, and it's literally because there's like
A Stranger Things ad.
well, there's like a few pages where they are the
Oh,
Vale is
upside down.
yeah, the Vale is technically like upside down. So they're yeah, it's really cool. They're upside down, but like the speech bubbles are like still normal. So
nice.
I was so confused when I was reading this. My brain couldn't like make sense of what was going on. But as I've mentioned before, this story is supposed to be leading into what's happening in the new Dragon Age game, the Dreadwolf game. And there's a cute little note from Solus in here, which if you don't know who that is, he is the Dreadwolf. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. It's a Dragon Age lore, you know.
Yeah,
But the note was actually really nice because when Solus leaves you at like the end of Inquisition, he does it in a pretty shitty way. And then when you meet up with him again in the DLC Trespasser, he takes your fucking arm, like literally takes your arm off and leaves you with no arm. So another shitty move from him. But in this, he's like, Varric, dude, you gotta stop following me. Just trust that I know what I'm doing. Solus is a turd.
that's good. Okay. I'm gonna talk about this book briefly. This is Sandman Dead Boy Detectives. This is issue number 4. This
Oh,
is
that's what my
just
kid is gonna look like.
this. It looks like the aborted baby from The Witcher.
Yeah, that's my baby.
Well, that's not your baby.
Well, I mean, that's
Well,
what it's gonna look like.
Heather's pregnant, by the way, I guess. Here's our announcement.
That's how we're telling people.
Yeah.
That's my baby.
And if you're listening, it's a grotesque, like, I don't know, wooden monster that's not even fully developed.
It's fine. I'm just terrified my baby isn't going to be cute, so I'd rather pretend that it's going to look like that so that I'm not disappointed.
It's gonna be a John Byrne baby, don't worry. It's just gonna come out with a fully adult face and head.
I bet it will. I bet I would have a very mature looking baby.
Okay, so Dead Boy Detectives, issue number 4.
Yes, that's a book.
This is a book I'm reading. This is about a couple dead boys who are also detectives. They're trying to figure out what's killing these ghosts. And things are not going very well.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it.
Art in this book is like real good.
Who does the art? Oh yeah.
Give me half a minute. It is Javier Rodriguez. He's the guest artist. I think that's who did the first half of this book. Jeff Stokely does page 24 pencils. Greg Talifier does page 24 inks. Miguel Muerto does page 24 colors.
Okay. I love when they do that for books when there's like random artists that do like just random pages throughout it. Because most of the time I don't notice until I see that, and then I'll go and look and they're like, oh yeah, this is a completely different artist, like obviously.
And I feel like I'm pretty sure it's Jeff Stokely who's normally on this book. I feel like it is. I know that's not important. I did notice the art was different for this one, so just let me see. Why? Yes, Stokely normally does the art on it.
Okay.
I know that was very important for everybody.
Well, we needed to know, you know.
Yeah. And then, sorry, I have more books. I have two more books, and then I'm done. I have Daredevil. This is issue number 9. After Daredevil takes all of the people that he freed from the maximum security prison to rehabilitate to war, with Punisher and his people, everyone's mad at him.
Yeah. I feel like with good reason. It's like, guys, I'm going to set you free, but you have to fight in this war, actually. So you just won't be in prison anymore.
Yeah, and that's basically like everyone. It's funny because I feel like my biggest issue for this whole entire book was the hypocrisy of everything that Daredevil is doing, and then it came to this issue and everyone's like, "Hey dude, everything you're doing doesn't make sense." And I was like, "Oh,
backwards."
Yeah, so it was really funny. Full circle moment for me and the story. Thanks, Chip. I am sure my podcast is the podcast he was listening and was like, oh yeah, you know what? Champ is right. I gotta write this into the
fix this.
Yeah, I gotta write this into the Daredevil story as a bit.
Everything's a bit nowadays.
It's my whole life is a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I enjoyed that issue. Just I think for that alone was just really good. And then I feel like the Avengers just keep showing up at the end of every single one of these issues, or like a version of the Avengers, because the Avengers show up and they're like, yeah, actually they literally say this. What the hell have you done, Daredevil? What the hell have you done?
I personally think they just need to mind their own business, because they do enough like trouble and causing problems for the entire world that they need to leave everyone else out of it.
Well, and I mean, maybe if they had gone to the work to stop Frank Castle being the god of the hand, then Daredevil could gone through with his like whole rehabilitation thing. Like he wouldn't have had to change them, like go be like, I need these guys to rehabilitate, actually be soldiers for my war. But they could have actually like gone forward with this whole rehabilitation plan. Just,
they always wait until the last second to like intervene. And it's like, why couldn't you have done that sooner? There was a lot of stuff going on, and I know you're paying attention.
At least you've paid attention enough now.
They're trolls is what they are.
But it feels like, I don't know, he broke them out of prison like 8 issues ago. And I don't know how long ago that is in comic book time, but it feels like it's probably been like a couple months.
Yeah. We'll say 8 months. Sounds good.
Okay, so I have one more book to talk about. I'll get through it. I have Something is Killing the Children. This is issue number 30. I can't say too much about this book because it's issue number 30.
Yeah, what else can you say that hasn't been said already?
Yeah, and this issue is just like all of the pieces have been set, and now it's just we're getting into the shit. art looks great though. Monster's really cool. Um, Erica, just a fucking badass.
Do you
Love
think
them.
that series is going to end soon?
No,
No? Okay. I just didn't know. I didn't feel like it was, but I didn't know what your opinion was on it.
I I don't see any reason for it to end soon, especially the way it's set itself up at this point. Like
Hmm.
it's given itself enough like directions it can move with like House of Slaughter, with the Book of Slaughter, like all of those things could like set up like different threads that you can see through something is killing the children, or just can like you might move in a different direction. So I don't see it ending soon. I don't want it to end soon. Um because I think there's so much more to explore, and especially what they've set up within the last few issues also leads itself to like more things happening, more threads. So
Hmm. Okay.
yeah, that book is really great. I know we talk about this all the time, but you've got to read it.
I do. I have that trade somewhere. I know I have it somewhere. I went
It's
through all
fun.
my trades like over the weekend because I was selling a bunch of them and I couldn't find it. But I know that I bought it because I ordered it. So I got to find it.
Okay, so we only have a couple more books left. You ready?
Yes.
Okay.
This is Bloodstained Teeth. This is issue number 10. This is the end. This is the end. That's literally, I don't even know like what all to say about it. I loved how this ended. I thought it was very not even like bittersweet. It just felt good. The ending was like
Mm-hmm.
very satisfying.
Yeah, the ending was really satisfying. The only thing I will say is that, like, even though the ending was satisfying, I feel like it could have just been like a couple less issues.
Yeah, no, I agree because there were some of those that were like fillers and stuff. Although I
Hmm.
will say issue number 4, which is still my favorite out of this entire series, was technically a filler because it's that one where he does all the drugs.
Yeah.
But if that wasn't a part of it, I I would probably be upset.
It's just like between each ish oh my
Yeah,
god.
yeah,
Each issue it never like hit the top of my pile, and I always like I could remember everything but didn't necessarily care.
yeah.
And then like when I got to this ending, I was like, yeah, this was an awesome ending. And I really liked how it went. But then yeah, I was just like, eh.
Yeah, I mean, 10 issues I thought was like it was a reasonable amount
Mm-hmm.
for a story. And I was interested, like, from a majority of the story. I don't think there was like one issue where I was like, ah, that was like a terrible issue, like
Yeah.
it was all good. And I think that was why I like the ending so much, is because it was very consistent for me,
Mm-hmm.
the whole
Mm-hmm.
story. So I was very pleased with it. I thought it was a good story. The art was incredible.
So the art
It was
is just so good.
Yeah. It was a
Uh
nice little twist on like a vampire story.
yeah. And yeah, the colors too. So like Patrick Reynolds does the art and then Heather Moore does the colors. And I think the colors are also a huge part of like what I liked about this book.
Absolutely.
Lots of books with really good colors this week.
Hmm. I agree.
Colors. I love colors.
We love colors, like all the colors, honestly. Like the rainbow, into it.
Love the rainbow.
Who thought of colors? It's crazy. All right. Are you
Okay,
ready?
I'm ready. The last we have Dark Knights of Steel. This is issue number 10. Got
Getting
two
there.
more issues left. Um, last
Figure out
issue.
who the baddies are.
Yeah, I would
Like
say
what's
last.
actually going on.
Yeah, the last issue had like a really big reveal, so you kind of had a more clear idea of who was putting all of the pieces in place. You thought.
This story does a really good job at like making me think one thing and then completely changing it.
Yeah, so this does really get into like, yeah, who the real baddies are, what's really going on. Um yeah, and there is another like shocking surprise in this one too, where you're just like, what the fuck?
Like the last 2 pages.
Yeah.
Yeah, my God.
So solid little book.
Yeah, beautiful. It's fantastic. I'm glad we picked it up.
Yeah, it's I read it actually 2 Wednesdays ago when we got it in, so like the week
Mhm.
before it came out. Because I really wanted to know. I was like, I need to know.
Well,
I
and I
I
feel like this book does not come out like consistently, which
mm-hmm.
is really upsetting because like this it's one of my favorite books right now, but it's like we'll get one issue and then like 2 months later we'll get another one and then like 6 months later we'll get one and then the month after that. So it's like it's
Yeah.
hard to like stay with it. So when I was still working there and we would get those in, I would do the same thing. Like I would just like grab it immediately when we got it in and just read it
Yeah.
because I wanted to know. Like, we wait long enough for these books. Like every
Yeah.
month. Are you kidding me? No,
I need it.
need it.
So yeah, that was our last book. That's all we got. That's all the comic books we have. Uh, it was all me. It's all about me this week.
This is a champ and a God week. God was the theme this week.
Yeah, I mean a golden god.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
So yeah, anyway, I quickly want to interject here because I've been wanting to just like at least talk about something really fast that is meaningful to me. And if any UNO students listen to us for some reason,
Well, you told them.
yeah, I've been telling all the UNO students I know. Uh
Every single one. You just walk by them in the hall, like, oh, by the way, have you heard my podcast?
yeah, I'm definitely doing that. So
I
yes,
think
if
that'd be
you're
fun.
I'm anyway, what I'm getting at is that I'm taking this class through UNO. It is an inside out class. So it is a class that I take inside the prison with people who are incarcerated. The class that I am taking is like a writing class. We just finished a creative nonfiction piece, and that was really hard. I'm not gonna lie. I've been writing research papers for a very long time, and first of all, I've never written a great creative nonfiction piece. Yeah,
It's hard.
and second of all, anything else I've written is just kind of, like journal entries. So it was different. But anyway, what I'm getting at is this class has been really, really interesting. I've developed really like great relationships with the people in the class, both the students who are at UNO and the incarcerated students who are inside the prison. Just fosters really, really great like discussions because we read stories. We've spent the beginning of the class reading other creative nonfiction pieces from people who were in prisons. And so we were able to like discuss that a little more deeply with people who like have a lived experience in that. And I think that was something that, even with my pen pals, it's not like this because it's very much meeting somebody where they are. And you get to see, it's like a pain in the ass for them because they're writing their creative nonfiction pieces by like hand.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, some of them, like some of their pieces were like 10 pages long, all written by hand. And then, we had to edit it and give each other notes. And so they had to do another draft of it. And them just having to do all of that by hand or on a typewriter, they're just talking about how much of like a pain in the ass that is. Cause you kind of take for granted when you're writing on a word, like on Word or whatever, you can easily just like move a paragraph, or just
Mm-hmm.
like decide to like change something with like ease. So that was like something we had talked about recently that was just like, oh fuck. Like,
Yeah, it's one of those you don't really think about it until you're in that type of situation where you
mm-hmm.
like you take away all the electronics and then you're like, oh, this is actually how like some people have to live.
Yeah, so anyway, it's a great class, and like I said, if you're a UNO student and for some reason you're listening to this, I highly suggest taking that class. I know that they were recruiting for the summer semester, so I think it's worth it. I think it's an experience that I will like never forget, and it's weird to like say, but like I really look forward to like going to that class every week and like going to the prison and going to the prison, which is like just like an odd thing, but it's gonna suck when we're done with that class because I'm just we can't like communicate with them after. I mean, like while they're in prison, we can't communicate to them. So it's just like these connections that we've also like made and fostered, and like, especially writing creative nonfiction pieces and reading each other's pieces. And some of them are just like extremely personal. And so you have like a very like different idea of somebody, and you've made a different like relationship with them. And yeah, it's kind of like, well,
You
bye.
can't even like pen pal with them?
No. And like when you're in, like that's part of the inside out stuff, was just like you aren't supposed to, yeah, like be a pen pal with them if you're a volunteer at the prison, which is like what we had to like designate ourselves as to get into the prison to do this
Right.
class. We would have to like write a letter to the warden to like be allowed to write to any of those guys.
That stinks. I
Yeah,
mean,
so
I do understand like why they have it set up that way, but that's still like that stinks. You build a relationship with someone in that way and then you can't even like communicate with them afterwards. Like that's hard.
yeah, no, it is really hard, especially when you're having, the sort of discussions we are having where we are talking about very personal things to us. And and I've definitely made friends in that class. And specifically why I'm talking about this is because every week one of my like inside classmates, Chase, he's always just like, have you talked about us on the podcast yet? And he's supposed to be like getting out on like work release here soon. And he's just like, well, maybe I'll listen and I'll hear you talk about it. And I was just like, well, I haven't found a way to like actually talk about it. So that's why I was like, I want to insert it. I'm just gonna talk about it. Um, it would be something that I feel like would be interesting to explore more, but I would have to like kind of gather my thoughts after it's all over with, because uh I don't know. I'm still living it week by week, and it's
Mhm.
just something I haven't ever, like I said, haven't ever experienced. And it's also been so long since I've taken a class like that, since all my classes for the most part are like very criminal justice focused. And this is, has a criminal justice like tweak to it,
Mhm.
but it is still like an English course at its core.
Right.
But
Well,
we have a comic book podcast, so I read all the time. I'm fine.
it's a creative reading class is what we're doing.
I'm just like, for my creative nonfiction piece, can I just give you a different comic book? I don't know.
Yes.
I'm just gonna be out of focus for the rest of this time.
That's very out of focus this
I
time.
don't know what happened. Like it
They,
does. There's no rhyme or reason to its focus or unfocusedness. This happened to me. I'm making a podcast appearance on a, I don't know, YouTube channel called Vactorverse. Uh, you'll have to check it out. By you, I mean the listeners. Heather doesn't have to. Uh,
everyone.
but but yeah, I was unfocused for like 10 minutes, and I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna. I tried to focus myself, and I was like, no, we're just gonna keep going. It'll come back.
That's
Anyway, this is
crazy. This is the worst it's ever been.
yeah. This is the end of the podcast. So unless Heather has anything else.
I don't today, actually. I'm in a decent mood, so I don't have anything negative to say.
All right. So yeah, go to your local comic book shops and buy some comic books. Take care of your friends, go to local libraries, check out some books, show your support to
Mhm.
them. Um, be good to one another. That's all we can ask of you. And we
And be
will,
good to yourself.
yeah, definitely be good to yourself. We'll see you on the The flippity flip.
We love you.
I'm just how? How am I still out of focus? It's insane.
I
I
have
don't get
no
it.
idea.